It's Zenji, a game that invites you to turn the maze green by connecting paths to the source. Yeah, the whole game has a kind of a cheesy Zen vibe to it. But don't let that put you off, because you will miss a really great classic arcade-style game. You can think of it as fusing Pac-Man with Pipe Dream, but it predates Pipe Dream by several years as far as I know. So the green parts of the puzzle here are the parts that are connected to the source, and you connect the blocks together by rotating them in the middle. After each level, you're scored on the amount of time left on the clock. You can see that at the bottom ticking down. You can also grab these bonuses that count down before they hit 0, which are on the playing field. So if you can actually make your way to different parts of the mazes really fast, you can score big points in this game. As the levels progress, the mazes grow in complexity, and the enemies start firing. They're more numerous, they're faster, so the game ramps up pretty fast. But despite this, levels that you've seen before become easier and easier because each time they are the same layouts. It would have been nice if they'd had a random level generator in here so that each time you played it would be fresh. And what that would have done would be forcing the player to get better in general at playing Zenji, rather than just getting better at some specific puzzles. Which is not to say that there isn't a general Zenji skill that you have to get better at to beat the game. And, you know, the game has this whole Zen theme to it, and it's not completely out of thin air. I mean, you really do have to feel these levels out. And a lot of times you go on intuition in this game, and logic. It's really a nice blend of the both of those. Now, this game was also made for the ColecoVision and for the Atari 8-bit home computers. And I'm not sure what edition is the best. You're looking at the Commodore 64 one here. Probably as good as any of them. I can't imagine there's a whole lot of differences between them. Despite the quality of the game, I think it's one that not that many people have actually heard of or have played, and that's a shame. One thing is that Activision's games from this era don't seem to be all that well known. You know, stuff like Toy Bazaar or Beam Rider. You know, these are all pretty good games, and they never really got that recognition that their Atari 2600 efforts got. And maybe part of that is because later Commodore games came out that, you know, were technically more impressive. You know, I feel like when new and exciting games like, you know, big RPGs and whatnot came out for these home computers, that kind of the pre-crash games like this were kind of, you know, swept away. And didn't really get the attention that they deserve. I mean, I feel like this game would be at home in an arcade. It's just that good. I think that's a heartbeat sound, and the enemies shoot on the beat, so you can really time your getaway there. I really like the style of the game. The enemies are pretty cool, the little fireball guys, I think. You have your character is a strange thing that kind of rolls around, and I think he has multiple faces. It's just it's a charming, chunky, old school style. But if there's one thing in the audiovisual department that I don't like, it's the music. I mean, it's a few bars and it just repeats and repeats and repeats. I mean, something like Xevious, you know, I can kind of see that. It's in a loud arcade. But, you know, at home, you really want to just start blocking this stuff out. And you kind of zone out to it maybe a little bit, so maybe it's not as intrusive as it might seem. But, you know, they could have really varied that up quite a bit, in my opinion. I actually acquired this pretty recently, and you know, it's not that I didn't play it before I got the disc, but I'm kind of a believer that if you really enjoy a game, you should be seeking out a legitimate copy. Lots of stores online sell these. You know, a lot of people are like, well, the original authors aren't going to see any of that, but that's, you know, that's used games for you. You know, there are plenty of stories, like I said, that you know, they probably wouldn't mind having some business thrown their way, and it's always fun to have a real copy of a game that you enjoy. Anyway, that's my rant. Let's get back to looking at the gameplay of this. There's a bunch of techniques you can use in this. Like, look at there, I just blocked a shot by rotating the block. So yeah, the shots can't travel, you know, over the gaps. So if you see one coming towards you, you can block it by rotating the platform that you're on. Zenji is a good combination of fast thinking and slow thinking. Sometimes you have to just step back and look at the maze and see where to go next. Other times you just kind of react. One thing you might have noticed just there is that the maze doesn't reset when you die, and I believe you can use that to trade lives for points because the timer that you're scored on goes back up to max when you have a new life, so you get, you know, more points for the time left on the meter. You know, I just noticed not only do the enemies fire to the heartbeat, but they alternate. One fires and then the other one fires in the next beat. So if you want to keep track of that, you can use that to your advantage too for your for dodging's sake. In the early mazes, you can flip one piece sometimes and that beats the entire maze. But as the mazes get harder, you have to start planning out in advance, so you might cut off access to, you know, of a large part of the maze to the source, adjust a few things and connect it all back. So right now I just have that upper corner to take care of, and let's see if I can manage. With 5 seconds left on the clock. And denied. So this is my copy of Zenji I got. I'm pretty stoked. I like this game a lot, and I don't have a Coleco. I toyed with getting the cartridge edition on the Atari 800, but it, you know, it was about twice the price. So, you know, why not get a floppy disk? You know, they're good. You know, until they're not, but they do come in this stylish Activision floppy slip with instructions on how not to blow up your disc. Pretty cool. Now let's look at the manual. You got to avoid desires and illusions and don't run out of time. Well, I desire the music to stop repeating. Is that okay? And you don't have you don't lose lives in this game. You live out your lives. I'm just imagining each life in your game having a long and fulfilling life, Tron style. And then it says to beat the game, you gotta trust your intuition and let go, which is actually kind of true in this game. And one thing that did crack me up a lot, though, was the flames of desire. So yeah, those weren't just fireballs; those were flames of desire. And yeah, you might have guessed that this particular copy is a Euro release. I believe the US one has a pretty different cover, too. You know, so that pretty much wraps up Zenji, a game that I really recommend to anyone who likes pre-Crash style classic Activision games. And I guess I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.